I started singing like Lata Mangeshkar songs, and my dad's singing Kishore Kumar. And of course, like that's so fun to be able to sing with my dad on stage and be able to be part of his Indian community. But I found that the generational clash is, I don't even know what I'm singing. I speak Bengali at home, but when I'm singing Chinna Chinna Ase, like, I don't know what I'm saying. So it's really hard for me to connect with the words and connect with the music. Like, I can feel the music on like a musical level, like, okay, this sounds really great, I'm doing wonderful, everyone's clapping for me at the end, I feel like I've accomplished something, but I don't know the meaning. So for me, like, singing English has given me so much, like, it's just the greatest thing that I can do. Like, I find so much passion, and it's like what I feel like I can dedicate my life to. Like, I love singing English so much. I write my own songs, and I feel like that is the generational gap, like singing like 50, 60 songs that are Hindi versus singing songs that are like on the radio, like what I really enjoy. And it's difficult because my parents, like in society, expects me to go and sing in these cultural programs when I want to be at home writing the next song that I can release. And with that, like, my parents have come to me saying, okay, there's this performance next here at this time. And I'm like, okay, I have to spend time like rehearsing this, like learning, because for me, like, I don't know what I'm singing, so I have to like translate, like I have to write it in like English, like this word, I have to put it in English letters so I can understand, like so I can actually sing it. And we've had this discussion so many times, and my parents are so open, and I'm so thankful for them. And we have like divided like how much Indian singing I'm doing, how much English singing I'm doing. But another like contradictory part to it is, although I have all this opportunity to sing English now, like what is my scope? Like when you go and you listen to the radio, like Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, they're not Indian. Like it's really hard, like putting so much effort into English singing, writing songs, going out there, and just thinking, do I even have a chance being Indian? Like, you hear of like MIA, like she released Paper Planes, but that was one song. And she's from Sri Lanka, but what happened to her now? Like, she's not as big as Taylor Swift still, so it's just really difficult, like knowing that if I have to do something, like I have to be the first, like is this even like a possibility for me? So it's just that battle, like I think that's our current, like my current like internal struggle, like should I keep going, like is there an output? Of course I'm gonna keep going, of course I'm gonna keep singing, but it's definitely like breaking the cultural barrier, I guess.
Yeah, that was a really fun response. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, kudos to you. And I can't wait to hear some of your music. And what I hear, you know, I'm a therapist and psychologist by training, so what I'm hearing in that is also that, you know, sometimes Indian parents, you know, you have your pride and joy with all their talent, right? And you wanna, you know, you wanna put them in all the performances. You wanna bring them out into the community and do all that. And there's something, I can see that you're so nourished by that. There's also part of you that is about your own dreams and your own, you know, you wanna write songs. Since you wanna write original songs, you're trying to create an identity for yourself in the music scene as an Indian American, and that might mean more solitude. That might mean more of, you know, your own, focusing on your own needs as a singer, and so that can be very hard to negotiate for parents and kids, is you know, especially when you have such a talented child. So really, thank you so much for that response. Yeah, and we'll end with Vaisheshi. Yeah.
That was so good to hear from you, Senria. You know, like how she pushes herself and how does this, you know, also support. That's what we at least think, that it's support from the parents. I hope you think of it the same as my pressure. Okay. What I was thinking was, you know, I thought I'd bring in a different perspective, parents, a mother's perspective. So me growing up, you know, I've been like every other child, like very rebellious, took different careers, studied different things, never did what my parents wanted to do. So everything was going perfect for me, and I chose to come to America on my own, so I came on my own. But the moment I became a parent, I became my parents. You know, everything changed for me. I no longer accept any rebelliousness. I no longer can take a no, right? And also it's the happiness, it's the joy that you look at your child, right? And then I had this child, and the first time she played guitar, just then my mind made up the whole image for her next 30 years. She was going to be the world's best guitarist while being a doctor. And of course she swims. I mean, can she make it to Olympics by 16? She could, because weekends are for swimming. Right? All of this was just achievable, attainable, and I'm here to support you. I'm gonna cook, clean, take you to your makeup classes, right? I mean, it's not for me, it's for her. So it was easy for me to think all of that and believe in that and actually build up, unknowingly. And then you start pushing them to different classes, weekends, weekdays. You start taking them, right? So it's a two-way struggle now. You're not only pushing your child, but you're also pushing yourself. So I started pushing myself too, so she can be successful, or she can go farther than where she could. But we missed the point there. That's not their goal. It's not their dream. It was never meant to be there to be an Olympian, or a guitarist, or a doctor, right? But this led to what's called anxiety, right? Stress in her life. So we both ended up with a therapist. I thought I was taking her to the therapist. And the therapist looked at me, of course, and she said, I think we should have a talk. So I was shocked. I'm like, do you put Priya? I said, I don't. I'm not a stereotypical parent at all. I never grew up as a child. I was rebellious. I will let her do everything. I never even looked at her, like a progress report or whatever that is. So what do? I said, I send her inspirational forwards. There is a 16-year-old chess champion. There is 18-year-old swimmer. There is somebody who went to UN, right? Every single thing for me I thought was inspirational to her. But I was cluttering her brainwaves, basically. So at this time came a realization that sometimes it's both the parents and the child. Like you said, nourishing, right? That's what we think we are, and we should be inspiring them. We should be supporting them in doing what they do. But again, in the space, and give them that space so they accept it, right? The moment they don't accept it, it's no longer nourishing. It's overwatering a plant, basically, right? There's a certain amount you can water that plant. And not every plant is rose, not everything grows to be, right? It is what you have is the best you have, right? It's your child every day. On day one, when the child was born, she was as beautiful and precious, and that's what she will be for you eventually, whether or not she's a doctor, right? That realization dawned upon me. I still do push her. I still expect her that she takes on her own space and time. She walks a mile longer than she plans to. Works a little harder than she plans to, because I tell her is that you are in a position to give somebody, help somebody. Maybe there is somebody who doesn't have parents to support, right? This person is not able to do, but you were to be a doctor, for example, you could help this person, right? The society as a whole. So I do want her to keep the big picture, but not from mine. I want her to own it, for the child to own it. So our therapy sessions were our biggest clashes we had. But a lot of clashes took us to therapy, right? So thank you for helping me air it out and share it with other parents here. Thank you.
Thanks to everybody for sharing. I love all the pro-therapy in this room as a therapist. And also, I'm not a parent, but it must be such a hard line to straddle between really, seeing the talents and the gifts of your child and wanting to nurture those to their fullest potential, while also not having your children get trapped in that trap where it's like your self-worth depends on becoming the next Olympic swimmer. I think that's a very fine line, and it's a difficult one. And so kudos to all the parents, doing that every single day. This has just been such a beautiful conversation, and so honest and candid and authentic. And I do want to, kick us off the stage when you need to, but because we started a little bit late, I want to give at least 10 minutes to see if anybody in the audience wants to share now, like opening it up. What are your insights into success? Are there stories or insights or ideas that you want to share to contribute to this conversation about co-creating a vision of success for ourselves and the people we love?
Pass the mic.
Sure, yeah. Please raise your hand and then we'll bring the mic to you.
Somebody, please. Raise your hand, somebody.
Yeah, we've shared so much. We need some of you to meet us halfway. Yeah.
Is this on? Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Ravi, Dr. Ravi Bathina. I'm very new to Atlanta, very new. I don't know even street names here. What I want to tell is this. Sir, You said medicine is so hard, painstaking, day and night, horrible. No.
It's no different than engineering.
The point is this.
No, I work
I
hard
told
in
my
my
wife every time I left the house in the morning, hey honey, I'm going to have fun today and come back. I never said I'm going to work. It is so, I'm getting goosebumps. It's so fun.
It's rewarding.
It's wonderful.
Oh,
It's so fun to see ailing people and take care of them and look at the gratitude in them, hug them. I'm called hugging doctor in Midwest. That's where I was practicing for a long time. So, medicine is not hard work, okay? It's passion. You are painting, it's a passion. My grandson, this fellow, he paints like crazy. I can't even believe. It's his passion. Medicine is passion. Okay, that's number one. I won't take too much of time, sorry. Yeah, I got a lot of stories to tell, but I want to stick to this one. You say, somebody says, keep loving, spread love, keep loving. Love. Love cannot be practiced, cannot be cultivated. It's not like, tomorrow I'm going to love you. The day after tomorrow I'm going to shout at you, get angry at you. These are the natural things. Bottom line, what is this love thing? How does it come? Bottom line is this, detachment. Detachment breeds love. Love comes out automatically. It's not, you don't have to create love. It's genuine, it comes out by itself. You don't create love, you don't practice love. So detachment. So in Telugu they say, Thamaraku మీద నీటి బొట్టు. That means lotus leaf, drops on it. There are drops on it. The leaf on the lotus, the drop on the lotus leaf, shining bright and kind of walks away, falls away. You have to live this life like that. Shining, bright, happy, be detached. The one is Jiddu Krishnamurti, one gentleman said, detached attachment. You have to live life fantastic. You have to hug your children, take care of the patient, whatever. But be detached, be objective. Sorry, I'm sorry, maybe I'm Vedanta here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to reflect on that. As a professor and a former college counselor, I've helped a lot of college students try to find their vocation in life, their career, what they want to, and one wisdom is, find the place where the thing that brings you joy meets the world's need. And I hear you really saying that has been your path in medicine, and perhaps for you as well, is that you have those moments of what a psychologist will call flow state, where you're flowing in it, and that might be a sign that you're on the right path. And if you don't have those in medicine, you might not be on the right path, and that becomes an argument with your parents. So thank you so much for sharing that, yeah. Anybody else want to share any insights or stories about success after being a part of this conversation or seeing it? Please feel free to raise your hand. Thank you, Neha.
Should I face this way or this way?
Either one, yeah.
Okay, I think I'll do this way, like that. Okay, so my name is Neha Patel. Sorry, Neha Patel. I say Neha because, like in the States, at school, no one can pronounce Neha. They just have to say Neha. So I sometimes refer to myself as Neha Patel, and then if I'm introducing myself to an Indian crowd, I feel so disgusting. Like, my name is Neha Patel. As a kid, actually, I always was into arts. I always drew and was really, really big into creative projects, whatnot, and that's what I did. I was a little bit of a mischievous little girl. I talk a lot, and I love hanging out with all my family and my parents' friends and whatnot. As I got older, in my teen years, there was always a conversation about what is it that I was going to study when I go to college. And all my girlfriends and all the guys, everybody's like, okay, I want to be a pharmacist, I want to, go do this. Pharmacist and nursing was a thing when I was deciding to go to college. But I couldn't see myself at the hospital, and really, nothing. I still went to LSU, and really, I could not just taking that much information and like I just couldn't take the test. So if somebody meets me, I'm doing great, like everything's fine. If you look at my grades, it's almost like it doesn't reflect like how I felt about myself. So like my self-esteem starts going down because you start thinking, I think I'm bright, but the test score is not really reflecting how I feel about myself. So I'm a little bit like, I don't think school's for me, Dad. I called my parents my sophomore year. I was like, you're wasting your money. Bring me back home. And my dad's like, look, let's reconsider something. And I did first 2 years finance, and I was like, I can't. Last 2 years psychology, and I was like, I can't. And then I actually met a guy actually through a friend, and I said, okay, I think he understands what I'm saying. And then I actually asked him out, and then I ended up marrying him, moving to Atlanta. That was 10 years ago. Now I have 2 kids, and I live in Sewanee. Around the time, I started doing some creative projects with my husband for his company. And even then, that's what I was doing. I was just being kind of everywhere and doing my stuff. Creative projects, emphasis always on creative. One day, me and my husband went to a charity function, and there was an auction for 3 things. One was like a trip on an island with 16 friends, and I said, we don't have 16 friends, Anant. We can't bid on that. And then there was another thing, and the last thing was an art trip to New York. So we went, me and my husband went, and I had just given birth to my daughter, the younger one. And when I went there, they sent us to it's called a TEFAF festival show. It's the finest European show that happens, and then a free show. When I got there, I said, I know what's happening here. I look at the paintings, and I said, I know what's happening here. And my husband's like, oh yeah, you were trying to make something like this. Oh yeah, you're trying to make something like this. We came back, and that trip was in October. My husband's like, oh, why don't we go to Binders, like an art supply? I was like, I've never been to an art supply store, because I actually come from Louisiana, a small town, and I've never seen an art supply store. Something like Hobby Lobby, sure, but nothing more than that. I went there and I started painting, bought my art supplies. I came home and my mom gave me a project. My mom said, I'm gonna get a house, so can you make me 3 booklands? And I said, Mom, I'm really not a religious person. I don't do, I barely know anything about anything really, so it would be really weird me painting booklands. And she said, that's what I want, come up with something. So I did 3 icons of Om, Ganesha, and Lakshmi in a minimalistic way, the way I would want to see it. And I gave it to my mom, and my mom posted on Facebook, whatnot. One thing to the other, now I do full-time art. And actually, the reason why I'm here is because actually me and Nisha are part of the Colors of India. And I think that's I would say that success for me was I finally, and everything else happened, but I still felt like even after you get married, after you're a daughter-in-law, you can still, a mother, there's still a space where you can still find your purest expression. And yeah, it could happen. So I think that's my success story.
Thank you.
That's so beautiful. I think that's an amazing story about, finding that place where your joy meets the world's need, because your art is just so beautiful. I mean, it just fills the world with beauty and heritage and a lot. And so thank you for sharing that. Yeah. You have more?
I actually have a question for the panel, so
sure, yeah.
I'll ask.